Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Death Comes to Pemberley by P.D. James. Death Comes to Pemberley is a sequel to Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Elizabeth and Darcy have been happily married for 6 years, but on the eve of the annual autumn ball, Elizabeth's sister Lydia arrives at Pemberley in hysterics, screaming that her husband Wickham has been murdered. What proceeds is a murder trial that puts all of those at Pemberley in danger. Well, I ended up giving this book 2 stars, and that's because of the fault of the BBC miniseries starring Matthew Rhys, Anna Maxwell Martin, Matthew Goode, and Jenna Louise Coleman. I freaking loved the miniseries adaptation of this book. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why I liked the miniseries. I'm going to actually be doing a book to screen for that, so stay tuned. It's actually going to be airing on PBS here in America at the end of October. So yeah, my love of that miniseries is why I wanted to pick up this book. It takes like 50-some pages for this book to get going, so it has an incredibly slow start. Basically, what the first 50 pages are is kind of a summary of Pride and Prejudice, which I found a little bit annoying. And then, within those 50 pages, we also learn about the fact that Elizabeth and Darcy have been happily married for 6 years, they have 2 kids, and we also learn the backstories of what all the other various Pride and Prejudice characters have been up to. I liked learning about what all the other characters were up to, and I liked learning that Elizabeth and Darcy were having a nice happy marriage, but at the same time I didn't really appreciate the whole Pride and Prejudice synopsis. I've read Pride and Prejudice, I've seen all the different movies, I don't need a synopsis. And the first 50 pages also kind of read like a traditional classic novel, kind of as if P.D. James was trying to imitate Jane Austen's writing style, which I don't think was really working that well, and plus I'm not really a fan of Jane Austen's writing. Sometimes I find her writing just kind of really dull and dry, and that's kind of how this read at the beginning. So yeah, if you have a hard time getting through classic literature, you're going to have a hard time getting through the beginning of this book because it reads an awful lot like classic literature. But after the first 50 pages, the novel does finally pick up. Lydia arrives in hysterics. She's screaming that her husband Wickham has been murdered. Lydia, Wickham, and their friend Denny were arriving to the ball, and Denny suddenly just flies out of the carriage, and he's screaming some things, and Wickham jumps out of the carriage also and goes after Denny, and Lydia's still in the carriage, and Lydia's like, "Come back, you guys, why are you leaving me here?" But then all of a sudden she hears gunshots, and then that's when she gets hysterical and tells the carriage driver to head to Pemberley. And that is all that you as a reader, and as well as the guests at Pemberley, are given. Sounds like an intriguing story, right? It does sound intriguing, but unfortunately, the execution was badly done. This is supposed to be a murder mystery. There's supposed to be a lot of intensity and a lot of questions, and you're never quite sure what should be going on. But this book lacked all of that. You never feel invested with these characters. These characters are just kind of dry, and you kind of have no emotional connection to them. This entire novel is more plot-driven than it is character-driven, and it should have been both. It often felt like you as a reader are kind of just being tagged along, and it's not even an enjoyable ride. This novel turns into CSI Pemberley, and all of that should have been pretty interesting also when they were all collecting the forensic evidence, but then that also kind of just is boring. There's no intensity to the writing, there's no sense of urgency, considering that there is a murder mystery going on. It's all very lackluster and bland, which is such a shame, because this book has so much potential. Overall, this book was a massive disappointment, which is such a shame, and I'm so sad about, because like I said, I adored the miniseries. The miniseries, you really connected with the characters. The plot was so intriguing. There was so much intensity, and everything about the miniseries should have been in this book. If you do plan on reading this book, I recommend either getting it used, which I did, or maybe just getting it at the library. Also, don't go into this book expecting all these wonderful, beautiful Elizabeth and Darcy moments, because Elizabeth and Darcy kind of only spend a few chapters with each other. So yeah, that's it for this review. Have you guys read Death Comes to Pemberley? Are you interested in reading it? Were you interested in reading it? And have you seen the BBC miniseries? So that's it for this book review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book review, you may like these other book reviews. Bye guys.